Hi everyone, it's Jo Carter here. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be slightly different because it is going to be a movie review of A Simple Favor starring Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. The movie A Simple Favor is based on the book with the same name by Darcy Bell. I haven't read this book and I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to, based on having already seen the movie. It's a domestic thriller, and with my thrillers that I read, I prefer not to know the ending so that it's quite exciting to find out who did it, what happened, etc, etc, etc. So based on that, I probably won't read the book, but I found the movie very entertaining, and if I was to use my same book rating system, I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. Stephanie, played by Anna Kendrick, is a single mum with a blogging platform, and she one day, with the help of her kids, ends up befriending Emily, just changed, played by Blake Lively. Stephanie ends up becoming entrenched in her friendship with Emily. She sees the woman as someone who is very powerful and really brave and that lives this glamorous life with a great husband and a great kid. When the part of it that becomes a thriller is Emily actually goes missing after she asks Stephanie for a simple favour, which is just, can you pick up my kid from daycare? I'm running late from work, I'll be home to pick him up soon, and then she never shows up again. And the rest of the plot ensues that Stephanie tries to find out what has happened to Emily. Unfortunately, the first half of this movie was a bit of a snooze. Even though I was a bit interested because it was very different seeing these two characters these two actresses who I have sort of almost grown up with, and watching them play mum roles now as opposed to teenage girl roles. That was very interesting, but that's kind of a side tangent. That's got nothing really to do with the plot of the movie. I found all the setup to Emily's disappearance fairly boring. It was kind of interesting, but I think it went on for too long, and unfortunately that's what made it a bit hard. But from the midpoint to the end of the movie, things went crazy. There were so many twists. It was very interesting, and that is why I ended up bumping the rating up to about 4 stars, whereas midway through the movie I hit pause and started looking on Facebook, and I didn't know whether I was going to get back to it or not, which I ended up did, and I was glad. At this point onwards of the review is going to be filled with spoilers. Anybody that is not wanting to know what happens, turn this video off now, come back and watch it after you've watched it. I do recommend you watching it because it was a lot of fun and there were some things that I was not expecting. The second half of the movie is where things get a bit crazy, and I was really glad that this happened, and I was really interested in it. I haven't actually read or watched a lot of thrillers to know whether what happened was actually good or not, or well done or not, so I can't speak to that, but enjoyment level, it was really fascinating. I fully believed that Emily was dead until her kids started saying that she saw him again, but I didn't actually guess that Emily was a twin. That was something, or actually a triplet as we later work out down the track. That was very surprising, and I actually, to be honest, I thought that there was actually going to be something wrong with the Bible camp that they went to, as opposed to the Bible camp being the escape route. This movie was really crazy, but the thing that I probably most want to discuss and find out people's opinions is that everybody thinks at the end of this that Emily is the bad guy, and although she's not squeaky clean, and the way she would talk to Stephanie about some things was very jarring to me. She uses a lot of swear words. She's quite like confronting and direct with her attitude, and for me that felt a bit jarring, but that's more like a personality clash as opposed to something that's necessarily wrong with Emily's character. But I just didn't get how, part of the twist is that her and her twin sister murder her dad because the dad would abuse them. I'm not sure because I'm feeling like it probably will go into more detail. I don't think he sexually assaulted them. I think it was just physical abuse when they were bad, according to them, he would discipline them in a really awful way. And I understand that that left her sister with some like horrible trauma that would have been really hard to like recover from, including if you're not actually actively going to therapy, which they couldn't do because they were running away from home and living different lives, and they were escaping all the convictions and everything like that. Where I think Emily was, you know, quote unquote the bad guy, is that I feel like if they were going to run away anyways, why didn't they just run away and not kill the dad? Like, were they worried about looking over their shoulder every second, and that not murdering him, they were never going to be able to escape him? Maybe that was what it was. But, you know, I still think, well, you guys ran away anyway, so couldn't you have just run away? And you have been hiding from the law, which wouldn't that be a lot more harder to do than just hide from one person? Maybe, I don't know. But the second bit where I think you're supposed to think that Emily is guilty is that she actually murders her twin sister. So her, which you probably know this if you're gone this far, because this is spoiler territory, but I don't actually feel like it's horrible to take someone's life. But her twin sister, and this, you know, this is fictitious, but her twin sister threatens to murder her kid. And how many parents have said how many times that they would kill for their children, that they will save their children's lives and stuff like this? And her twin sister actually threatened to kill her kid. And I'm just like, well, you know what? I don't blame her for murdering her twin sister. I don't, because she's supposed to protect her kid above everything else. The part that I don't like about Emily is that her motivation for pretending to be dead and disappearing and stuff like that is that they were so bad in debt that she needed to collect the money, or she needed her partner to collect the money on her life insurance claim, and then they would run away to another country together where they'd never be caught. She didn't let her hubby in on this plan. Hubby then sleeps with Stephanie. That's when things got messed up. But I think it was wrong for Emily to have put her husband and her family and her new friend through all of this grief and heartache just to collect money. Like, I understand that money, debt and stuff like that is a problem, but they're living in this big house that they could have sold. And I mean, at the end of the day, couldn't they, I don't really understand how like the American money system works in bankruptcy and stuff like that, but don't people sort of declare themselves bankrupt and then they kind of walk away from the situation? Like, I don't know, just like, that would obviously have repercussions, because you can't just owe all this money and then walk away. But I don't see how it was that bad that it would warrant your husband and your son going through so much grief just so that you guys could get a payout. Like, that is the bit that I think Emily is the villain in this tale. The relationship between Stephanie and the husband felt very organic. It's a difficult situation because it was so close to the death of Emily that it kind of makes me question the husband a little bit. But then if he wasn't told that Emily was still alive, so he's just trying to move on, and through his grief he's found love, you know, like, tricky situation. I'd be interested to read the book to find out a bit more about Stephanie and her brother, and to find out the true identity of her kid. But that was a bit of a twist as well that I wasn't expecting. I was not expecting her husband or whoever to have murdered himself and the brother. This movie was slightly spooky, I'm not gonna lie. I have a very low spooky meter, kind of like my spice meter as well. It's very low. I don't really like eating spicy food, and I don't really like watching scary movies. So watching this home alone by myself in the evening was a little bit spooky, particularly when we were investigating Emily's parents' house. But overall, it was an enjoyable movie, and I'm glad that I stuck through it until the end. I wish they had sped up the start a bit, but I don't know what you could have cut out, because I feel like there was just enough time to develop a friendship between the two, but only just, and I wouldn't want to miss anything. And then of course you needed to do all the grieving and have the relationship development between Stephanie and the husband, you needed the time to do that organically. So I don't know what you would have cut, and I would maybe hope that if you read the book and then watched the movie, maybe the book provided extra details that made the start of the movie a bit more bearable. I don't know. Have you seen both? Let me know in the comments below. I think both of the actors played their characters really convincingly. I think they really nailed it. Stephanie being the quirky, do-it-all, overachiever, single mum, and Blake Lively being the mysterious, fashion world, successful, glamorous mum who I really wouldn't want to be friends with, but she was kind of entertaining nonetheless to watch these two kind of come together and become friends. I probably won't watch it again, particularly because of the start of the movie was slow, but then also the twists, I know them now. So that was a lot of the shock factor. At the end was a bit of a twist, and I didn't know how much the husband knew, but like Emily was screwing with the husband's mind, and like it was all just, I don't know. It was a bit crazy, but that's the point of thrillers, and I really enjoyed it. So that's it for my review of A Simple Favor the movie. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments below. Did you like it? Have you read the book? Were there differences? Let me know. And also let me know if you like this kind of video. Would you like me to do it again? Thanks to Netflix for my background. Not really, because I pay for my Netflix subscription, but that's where I watched it on. Thanks so much for watching me, everybody, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!